Welcome to the Game Plan with Hunter Hughes. West Texas A&M has now won back-to-back home games, including last Saturday's win over UT Permian Basin in the Lone Star Conference opener. Now the Buffs have a 2-1 overall record in 2017. So it's time to pack the bags and hit the road for the first time this season, as the Buffs will go away from Kimbrough Memorial Stadium for the first time, and they'll head to Stephenville to take on Tarleton State. Texans also with a 2-1 record, 1-0 in conference play. Before we get into talking Tarleton State, though, let's welcome in West Texas A&M head coach Hunter Hughes. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Lucas.
And so, Coach, first we start back and we look at UT Permian Basin last Saturday. It's a 17-6 win for your team, 1-0 in conference play. I think if you go back and look at things defensively, you got to be happy. Hold them to only 2 field goals, turned the ball over a couple times, did some good things. Defense continuing to play well. Offensively, I know it was a game where you'd like to see some more production there. But in the end, you look at the game, and the most important thing is 1-0 in Lone Star Conference play. Your thoughts?
You know, you take everything out of it, watching film and looking at stats, and the one stat that matters is at the scoreboard at the end of the game, and we won 17-6. So happy about that. We got a lot of adjustments, a lot of things to work on. UTPB did some things to us that we weren't ready for, and kind of got us a little bit on offense, and so we had to make some adjustments to get things going there. And then we lose Michael Whitfield, and we've already lost one starting lineman. The second starting lineman's out. We're playing with a backup quarterback. So I mean, you're going to have some things happen, and we turn the ball over, and you can't do that. You can't do that against anybody. And my hat's off and credit goes to Coach Kerrigan and UTPB, because I thought they came out and played a heck of a game. And I had said before that they'd been snake bit and turnovers, and they really held on to the ball and didn't do make those same mistakes that they had made. And we won. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, a win's a win. You told me before the game, I don't care if we win by 1 or win by 50, just want to get the win.
It still counts the same.
You're right. And your defense, talk about them as they continue to play well. Last week, led by Isaiah Barnett. He was one of the stars, had 2 interceptions, almost had a third, picked off a third pass. And then 4 team sacks. Dalen Young contributes along with Lance Hyder, who I feel like has been playing well. So talk about your defense, because it seems to me, Coach, that each game they seem to be getting more confidence.
Well, they are, and I harp on them all the time about doing the little things. Isaiah particularly, he came in and met with me this past week, and was kind of like, what am I doing? And I got on him about the way he prepares and the way he practices. And I see a lot of potential in Isaiah, but I don't think he's uncorking that potential. And
still a young player.
Still young, and we have to teach these players how to practice. We have to teach them how to prepare, how to watch film, those type of things, because they don't know. And that's part of our job as a coach. Overall, we still make a lot of mistakes on defense, but the good thing is we rally to the ball, we gang tackle and pursue, and I think that's the big key. Is if we're going full speed all the time, mistakes are covered up by effort.
Sure. You mentioned Isaiah being a younger player, and that was my next question, was the youth on this team. You're not only playing redshirt freshmen, you're playing a lot of true freshmen. You look at last Saturday, for example, and Kalen Nosif is the leading receiver, true freshman out of Lubbock, Monterey. Brandon Blair and Kobe Morrow had a big part in the running attack. Brandon Blair gets into the end zone for his first career rushing touchdown. And then on the defensive side, I've mentioned several games. Eric Collins, I feel like, is doing a great job from the linebacker spot. When you're coaching so many young guys that this is their first time to really get the college experience in terms of the speed and the physicality of the game, we'll talk about that in terms of coaching those young guys, and they're getting out there and playing well for you, but it is a bit of a challenge.
Well, in all honesty, I think they're a little easier to coach because they have not been in a system in college, whereas the older guys have been in the previous coaching staff system.
Sure. And
the way they did things, the way they practiced, the way they prepared and went out, even traveled to the home games.
Mm-hmm.
We've changed that up a little bit, and our Friday routine's a lot different. So for these freshmen, it's something that they haven't gone through, so it's all what is expected. These older guys, they've been through it in a different manner, and they are the ones that are having to adjust. So for those younger guys, catching up to the speed of the game and being physically ready to play.
How much of it's mental for those guys, just learning on the fly?
I think it's a lot more mental than anybody puts in, because they've also got to handle their academics at school and our schedule that we put on them, not only to practice but to lift weights, to go to study halls, to do those things, and then to throw in their class load with homework, so it's hard for a freshman to play anyways. But I think we got, you name the 4 that are really doing well.
Sure.
And I'm proud of Brandon. If you look on special teams, he makes a big play on a punt that turns into negative yardage on the return.
Sure.
Eric Collins has been on every special team. Kalen's getting in on every special team. But I've preached this before. I'm going to play the best guys, and right now those guys are the ones performing.
Sure. Coach, I want to ask you, we've talked before about obviously you coming from Colorado State Pueblo, so spending time in Colorado, obviously grew up in Tennessee. So now that you've been in Canyon area, Canyon Amarillo for nearly a year, how are things in the Texas Panhandle?
Well, things are great. I got a house down here in Canyon that's in a nice spot, and it's quiet and peaceful, so I can get away from things a little bit.
Coach.
Oh yeah, and but I like to get out in the town. I like to go to the local restaurants. I like to. I shop right there in Canyon when I do go shop, but it's just a neat little fun town that people are so friendly and nice, and it's just, the speed limit's a little different than what I'm used to going 30.
That is true.
I got to hit the cruise control every time I come into town, or else I'd be flying through the streets.
Yeah.
But it's very enjoyable, very nice. The climate's no different than what I've had. Everybody says it's hot, but I don't think it's that hot. One thing I do really enjoy is the thunderstorms that come in. I like to sit out and watch them and listen to them and hear the thunder and the rain hit the roof and things like that.
Because we do have some good thunderstorms.
Absolutely.
Right about that. Well, Buff Nation, first road test for 2017 this Saturday, 7 p.m. at Memorial Stadium in Stephenville as the Buffs take on Tarleton State. Again, both teams 2-1 overall, taking similar paths as Tarleton State started the season off with a loss to Delta State on the road, but then they bounced back the last 2 weeks, defeating Panhandle State, and then of course a big win for them in conference play last Saturday, 30-24 over Angelo State. And Coach, when you look at that game for Tarleton, it's a game where they forced 5 turnovers, did some good things. This is a dangerous team. Starting with the offense, their quarterback is a returner, Zed Warner, can sling the football around. They've got some talented receivers led by Del Michael High, who's a very explosive wide receiver. And then that defense, they like to attack. They like to force turnovers. E.J. Speed, a linebacker that was named Lone Star Conference Defensive Player of the Week. What do you see when you look at this Texan football team that we're about to take on? Starting
with them offensively, Zed makes them go, and he's got some big, tall, physical receivers. They are not afraid to go downfield and block. They will come in and crack the safety and let the safety let them feel it. Very big and up front and offensive line wise, and they move well. There's 300, 360, 290, 6'5", 6'6", So we'll have our hands full there. Running back is talented, can make people miss, and can put his foot in the ground and go. Defensively, I'd say fast. They're very fast, very athletic defensively, and they get those 5 turnovers because they put pressure on the quarterback, and the defensive backs know how to go make plays. And so it's going to be interesting. Certainly, it'll be a fun test for us going out on the road, but we're looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens. Well, it is, on the road, a tough environment. Anytime you go to Stephenville, it's a tough environment, whether it's basketball, volleyball, football. They are going to have a renovation, newly renovated Memorial Stadium that they're expecting a sellout crowd at Tarleton State. So as you look at this game, there's going to be high emotions. Both teams have the hot start, 1-0 in conference play. Some keys for your team to go on the road and get the victory against Tarleton? Well, it's always the same. When you start the game off, there's going to be emotions going. And for the first time, we're in unfriendly, an environment. And how we handle ourselves throughout the road trip, I think right now we're an immature team. We're a young team. And it's up to us as a coaching staff to make sure that we travel the right way and do things the right way, and get off the bus ready to play. And once we start playing it, we limit turnovers. They had 5 last week, and that's the reason they won. We ended up with 2 big ones and put us in field position to finish drives. And so that's the first thing. Then we got to continue to remain disciplined. You know, we can't put ourselves in bad situations by penalties. And I think those 2 things are the big key. You know, other than that, you know, just go out and play.
Sure, make plays. And so again, Saturday, 7 o'clock at Memorial Stadium. That game played in Stephenville. I want to mention, Buff Nation, that if you don't make the game, don't make the trip to Stephenville, you can listen live on Lone Star 98.7. Myself, Bryce Sheets will have the call for you. Kent Johnson down on the sideline doing a great job as always. And so again, Lone Star 98.7 pregame with Mike Roden will start at 6 p.m. as he'll get you set for the big game. And that's going to do it for this week's episode. Want to mention, Buff fans, for all your live video, your live stats, and also your game recaps, visit GoBuffsGo.com. For head coach Hunter Hughes, I'm Lucas Kinsey. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time right here on The Game Plan.